we're here at Grange Golf Club in South Dublin. I'm delighted to be joined by Irish Olympic golfer Stephanie Meadow. How are you?
Hi, good, thanks. How are
Welcome home. It's been a while, has it?
you? Oh yeah, it's always great to come home and kind of get the Irish back in me, and it's always fun.
And you're coming home as a winner.
Yes, which is even better. I won my last event, and it's kind of the first win for me in a little while, so it really feels good that hard work's paying off.
Yeah, so tell us where you are in your career then, because we all stood up and took notice at the US Open back, almost 4 years ago now, when you went so close to winning, and again at the Olympics. What level are you playing at the moment?
So right now I'm on the Symetra Tour, which is the equivalent of the web.com. So, which is obviously a big change for me. I played on the LPGA for 3 years. And
so that's one step down from the main tour.
One step down, yeah. So, I lost my card. I had an L5 stress fracture last year that kind of knocked me off. And, I kind of lost my game. But it's coming back around, thankfully. And it's the best I've played probably since 2014. So it's great news.
Was it a bit of a shock to the system having to move down a level, considering you blazed such a trail at first coming in at the US Open? Was that your first professional start?
Yes, first professional
Finishing
start.
third at a major. Everybody thinks from here on in it's an upward trajectory. Obviously sport isn't like that. What happened after the US Open?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shock to the system when you start that fast. You're on the kind of headlines and a lot of pressure, and I just kind of lost a little bit. And then my dad passed away in 15, and I took a break from golf while he was sick to spend time with him. And it just never really came back after that. Mentally I just wasn't the same person, and obviously losing my dad, who was such a big influence on my golf career and my life in general, was really hard. So it's been a journey. It's full of ups and downs, just like any sport or any career. And thankfully I'm on the up again. Yeah,
talk to us about your dad, because as you say, such a huge influence, and he took a huge step as well when he realized your potential. You all moved to America at a very young age. When did the love of golf start, and how important was he in that?
Huge. That was the reason. Basically, he was the golfer. My mom was a equestrian horse rider, and for a while when I was younger, I was doing both, and then I fell off the horse, and that was that.
Right, no going back.
Yeah, no going back. So basically he would take lessons on at weekends, and I would go with him as kind of babysitting, and then
Where
I
did
wanted
you play out
to be.
Up in Northern Ireland?
So I was taking lessons at Ballyearl at the beginning, and so it turned into my lesson. Like, it became, I want to go, and so then it became all of my lesson. And then a guy called Jim Robinson, who was the head pro at Ballyearl for a long time before he moved down here, told me to go to Ballyclare Golf Club, where they had Friday girl group, and there was about 30 girls that got together and putted and chipped and had lessons. So that was kind of it really all started, and I just loved the game from there. And was your dad a mid-handicapper, a sort of weekend warrior out on a Saturday and Sunday, or was he someone who took the game quite seriously? No, weekend warrior, he was, mid-teens, and he had some great days, but he always said, by the time she was 11, she was already kicking my butt. So, I think that was kind of a lot of pride for him too, And what age then did you realize that you were a little bit better than everybody else? I think I was around 11, and I played in the Irish Girls Close, and I finished runner-up, and that was kind of my first year in that scene, and that came as a bit of a shock. But then I kind of realized, okay, I'm pretty good at this. I want to do better and get more out of it. And then when I was 14, obviously we made the decision to move to the States to go to a golf academy. And, very, very lucky that my parents had the opportunity to be able to do that with me. So the whole family up and left? Yep. Yeah. When I look back on it now, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. Like, what a, kind of leap of faith. But my parents, they supported me in any way they could, and that's what they thought was best, and I wanted to do it. That's even slightly different to, say, a lot of the male golfers who we know who went to college in America, who go at 18, 19. Leaving at 14, so you're heading over there to high school. Yes, I did 4 years of high school, and basically, did school from 7:30 to 12:30, and then the rest of the day was golf. So, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it sounds pretty exciting. Yeah. Is there a pressure with that when you're 14? Like, how do those conversations happen when you're 13, 14 with your parents as to whether you want to make that step? Because ultimately, as you say, your parents are giving up their jobs, I assume, giving up a huge amount. Yeah. And suddenly all the pressure of family life is on you delivering. I don't remember that much about it. I remember that I'd gone over to the States at Christmas time, and that's where we vacationed most Christmases. And I played a golf tournament over there, and I saw a girl with the IJGA, and then I saw David Ledbetter School on their bags, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I remember saying, oh, that would be fun to go to, and I just was all about, I mean, I'm 14, I love golf. I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely, let's do it. And I mean, I don't remember any conversation where, you know, it's like super intense or anything. I just knew that they wanted to provide the best for me, and that's what they thought was good.
Was it the Ledbetter School you went to then?
No, I actually went to IJGA, so International Junior Golf Academy, who Gary Kilchrist was the coach when I first got there, and then he left, and then Hank Haney came. But those were...
What did he ever do?
Yeah, I know, yeah. But those were, you know, kind of names of the school, so they just came in once a month, that kind of thing. So I had other coaches that were with me every day, and, you know, incredible coaching. I learned so much when I went out there.
And was everybody there of a similar age group?
Anywhere,
ability?
yeah. No, not similar ability. You know, there was a lot, anywhere from beginners to, you know, my level or better. And that's one thing I did learn when I went over there. You know, I kind of left Ireland being pretty top, and then I went to America, and I was like, okay, I'm an absolute nobody. But that's good. You know, it makes you focus and be motivated to be better, and, you know, I think that helped me a lot.
As you got older, then you had maybe conversations with your parents about how that move came about. Was it partly as them thinking, actually, we're moving to America, maybe a better life for everybody?
Yeah, I think they...
That even if the golf doesn't work out for you, that actually for them, heading into their later years, this is all right.
They liked it, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, you know, they always vacationed there. They loved America, and we actually vacationed in Hilton Head, which is where the school was. So, you know, they knew the area, and they really liked it. So I think it worked out well for both parties.
Yeah. Were you very self-motivated during those times? Like, was the dream to get onto the LPGA Tour? When did you start thinking thoughts like that?
Yeah, when I was very young. I mean, I always knew that LPGA was where I wanted to be, and you know, it's hard because nobody else from here had kind of done it before. A lot of girls have been maybe LET and then dropped off, but nobody had really gotten that far, so the path wasn't that clear. But
so where do you even learn about that? Like, are you up on a Sunday night watching it, the few tournaments that they covered on Sky? Yeah,
I think so. And watching Annika, you know, she was the biggest role model kind of at that time. I mean, she won 10 majors and 74 tournaments, and and, you know, played a PGA Tour event and shot 59. So I mean, how can you not love her? So.
Yeah. So that was the real aspiration then. Heading to college then, like, we know that so many sports people from here rave about the college experience in America if you're a sports person, and we were just talking about Title IX, and for somebody in what's somewhat seen as a minority sport in terms of numbers in America, for a female golfer there are huge benefits.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, female golf gets 7 full scholarships a year, so basically, you know, if you're really good at, I mean, you could go to a great school if you're really good, or even if you're just kind of like average and you don't want to turn pro, you can still go to a really good school and get a full ride. You know, you get tuition paid for, books paid for, you get, you know, rent expenses, and, you know, it's a pretty cool opportunity to do something you love and get your education at the same time.
Where did you go?
I went to the University of Alabama. So it's a big school, massive football school, American football school. So there's a lot of money. That's what brings in the money for athletic departments is American football. And so we had every opportunity you could ever imagine to succeed there.
Okay, so that's where it evens itself out. If they're how many players will they have in their football role?
Oh, 100 plus, yeah.
Okay, so they have to have 100 plus female athletes on a similar scholarship.
Exactly, yeah. So Title IX is an amazing opportunity for female athletes. You know, it gives us huge chances to make it.
It also means that the level of competition then, because people aren't turning professional by and large when they're 17 or 18, they're happy to go through the entire college process. And I think we probably see that at the moment with Leona Maguire, and people are wondering, as the world's best amateur, why she isn't turning professional sooner. Actually, it's a very good competitive life in college, aside even from the educational side of things.
Yeah, there's so many great schools. We travel all over the country and compete against the best. I mean, all you do is learn at that level, and I think it's very important. You know, you learn how to be an adult, and you learn, you know, how are you going to handle being a pro, and those things are vital. You know, those are a big part of our professional careers, and I got so much experience from being at college, and And the other thing is you get an education, you get a degree if you finish. And
what were you studying?
yeah, I did accounting, so yeah, pretty
the
hard.
Padraig Harrington route.
Yeah, the Padraig Harrington route. Yeah, I kind of, last year was pretty tough. Senior classes and trying to combine that with golf as well. But what you can't have anything better than a backup plan like that, and it takes a lot of pressure off the golf side of things too, because you just don't know. I've had my injuries, what happens if that could have been career ending, and then what? So I just think it's an all around great experience for young girls and guys to do.
Yourself and Leona have been the real trailblazers for female golfers in this country, and both of you have gone a similar route, having to go to America. Do you think is it possible for a young Irish golfer to stay in this country?
Yeah.
And progress? Are we still that far behind in terms of investment?
No, I think it's a lot closer now than it was, 10, 15 years ago for sure. Coaching's gotten a lot better. The facility's gotten better. Team Ireland Golf are extremely supportive. That's been supporting me since I turned pro, which is, we're extremely lucky to have that. Now, Americans don't get that. They don't have any sort of
So you're on the carding
like
system,
that.
are you?
Mm-hmm.
In terms you get...
Yeah.
You get a certain amount every year, depending on what you can achieve.
Exactly, yeah. So, it's a huge help because... sponsors are not easy to come by in women's golf, and thankfully I have a few very supportive ones, which is amazing. Team Ireland, Investec, it's just great to have them behind me.
The LPGA Tour just seems to be going from success to success at the moment, and the prize funds are rising all the time, and it's getting more and more coverage.
Yeah.
It's pretty much in contrast to what's happening, unfortunately, on the Ladies European Tour. And I think a lot of people remember back to the time of the Solheim Cup, and we had a Ladies Irish Open, and they were getting huge crowds down to Killeen Castle, and it built up to something, and then it just very much died a death, that there was no one really to carry on. Is your long-term future in America? Are you looking at European Tour golf and ladies golf in Europe and sort of shaking your head wondering what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's a tough situation for them. They're losing a lot of tournaments, and their prize money, unlike ours, is just going downhill. But if you want to be on the main stage, you got to be in the LPGA. And yeah, most of our events are in these states, but there's a lot in Asia now, and there's a few kind of over here. We have the Scottish Open, which is now an LPGA event, and hopefully at some point we can get the Irish Open back, because people in Ireland love golf, and I think they should be able to see us women compete as well as the men, and I think they would enjoy that.
And that was sort of proven around those couple of years around the Solheim Cup, that if you put on a well-organised event and you get the publicity right and you put the marketing budget behind it, people will come. They just need to know about it.
Exactly, yeah. And that's a great thing about Ireland. They're very supportive people, and fingers crossed that we can hopefully get something like that sorted out again, and I'll definitely be here when it happens.
So you were talking there about Annika Sorenstam and the incredible success she enjoyed. When you finished third in the US Open, do you suddenly, your ambitions, your goals start changing? If that's your first professional event, I don't know, what were your thoughts when you were teeing it up at the US Open that week as to what the next couple of years looked like, and how did they change afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't even think I'd thought that much. I'd always wanted to be, well up there in the rankings before I turned pro, and I was just so excited when I got to the US Open that I was finally pro. College was amazing experience, but I was also ready. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this now.
Bank account is open.
Yeah, exactly. But when you finish third, it's like, okay, I can compete every week, and I can do this, and I almost won a major, and what else can I do? And your expectations go pretty high pretty fast, and everybody else's expectations of you go really high as well. And it's kind of a hard thing to swallow too. I won't. You learn a lot from that. You learn how to manage your expectations, and how to not get distracted from, you got to stick to your process and not get so wrapped up in the results of everything. And I've learned a lot in these past 3 years. It's not exactly how I pictured it, because it's been mostly this way after that, but now I'm on the up again, and hopefully I can draw on those experiences when and if that happens again.
Was it almost too much too soon, that if you go out in your first professional tournament and you contend at a major, do you think, actually, I have made it? Maybe it's something subconscious, maybe it's not something you're walking around strutting, but actually something in you thinks, I know I can compete. I just did it at one of the biggest tournaments of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely, your mind races way ahead of where it should be, I think. But I'll never take it back. That was the best experience, one of the best experiences of my life. To be third in the US Open straight out of school. So many people supporting me. And I mean, the support I got from Ireland, like I cannot tell you how many text messages I had after that. My phone died within like 10 minutes because it was just constantly going. So, I'll never take it back. And it was a great way to start my career. And that's what I had dreamed of since I was a little girl, being in contention in a major. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, no matter what else happened.
It must have been a brilliant thing as well for your parents and for your dad to have had that before he passed, to get to see you and to realize everything and all the risks that they took and all the sacrifices that were made, that actually,
I think about that a lot, actually, because that was very early, obviously, in my professional career. My dad wasn't around for that long of my career and professionally. And for him to see that and be so proud and kind of see that, they put a lot of hard work into this too. So it's very special for him to have that memory. And I'm so glad that it happened when he was still here.
How difficult is it then when your dad is ill and you're going through that? And as a professional sports person, people on the outside, they don't know, and they don't generally care because they don't know. Everyone's just looking at your results, and you're judged. Your identity is forged so much in your results on the golf course, and people don't really stop to ask what's happening.
Anything else,
Is that something you really noticed?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I had a lot of support from my friends on tour, for the players. I cannot tell you how many cards I got in my lockers the weeks after. But, that was a really tough thing. When my dad got diagnosed, he had pancreatic stage 4 cancer, stage 4B when it was diagnosed. So it's a brutal cancer. And, I said to him, I was like, I'm not playing. I'm done. Yeah. I only know, average lifetime after that is 3 to 6 months. And I was like, I'm not going to spend the last 6 months traveling around and not being there. So, but I did play one event because I had gotten an exemption into a major, Kraft Nabisco, and so that was the last event that my dad saw me play in. And it was pretty cool. I finished tied for 20th there, and when I think back on it, like I hadn't practiced, I hadn't put much work in going into that tournament. I still felt really rusty, and I played really well, but I guess, I just knew that this is my last chance to kind of for dad to see me. And it was really amazing that I was actually covered on Golf Channel, and they actually talked about my dad and on the Golf Morning Drive on the Golf Channel.
That's brilliant.
So it's cool for him to be sitting there watching that. It's hard too to think about, but it's really amazing that he saw that.
Yeah. How long then until you could face going back on tour again? Because it is such a solitary existence. You have to leave the house and say, I'll be back in a month, I'll be back in 6 weeks' time. You're probably staying in a cheap hotel somewhere trying to save a few quid.
Exactly.
It's not all glamour.
No, it's not. Definitely not like the top man. I actually decided to go out the week after we had the funeral in the States, and bad decision. Very bad decision. I guess I just wanted to go back out there and play for him. That was kind of my mindset at that point.
It's hard not to make bad decisions.
So it was actually I think it was in Canada, and I remember I had the same caddy for probably almost a year, and he could tell I was kind of getting it rough, and I looked across the fairway. I remember I was on the 6th hole, and I was like 1 over par, and I looked across the fairway because I wasn't feeling that great about game, expecting my dad to be there, and that was it. Like, I just lost it.
In the middle of the round?
Yeah, in the middle of the round. And thank God that I was playing with friends of mine, and they knew exactly what was going on, but I was just bawling in the middle of the round. And I finished out because that's kind of the person I am. And I got through it, and, they actually played good, so thank goodness. I didn't want to be a distraction, but I quit after that. I finished the round, and then I decided I need to go home. Like, I need to just digest and, kind of look back and start to grieve. And so I did that, but I kept battling, played, but I just wasn't there. Like, mentally, I was physically there, but mentally just not the same person. And that took a long time.
Golf must be one of the most difficult sports as well then, when you're getting back on track, to get that balance right, because you say it's such a mental game, and you're so close to your dad, and he's so intertwined in everything that's happened in your career, that you want to go out and do it for him. But actually having that emotion,
it's hard.
Isn't really the best thing to have with you when you're teeing it up in a golf course.
It's just a constant reminder. And that was the hardest part for me. Was golf was the biggest reminder of my dad, and I couldn't focus. But I started to look at it and say, okay, well, this is great that I had that connection with my dad on the golf course, and I can feel close to him when I'm out there and use that in a positive way, instead of, being absolutely completely torn up about it. The pain, it's always there, it's always hard, but it does get a little easier.
We're here at the Grange in South Dublin, which is the home course of Paul McGinley, who was the Olympic captain, and you got to go. You didn't worry about any Zika virus or anything like that.
Just
you went and played.
Yeah.
What was the Olympics like as an experience?
Oh, it was fantastic. Definitely top 3 experiences of my lifetime. The golf tournament was kind of the same as normal, with LPGA ran it, so the same officials were there and that sort of thing. But, outside of that, completely different. Going to dinner at night at the dining halls and seeing all these different athletes, and you just people watch, just sit there, like, what sport do they play, where are they from, trade badges.
Who were you most impressed with?
Probably all the swimmers, so like seeing them. But yeah, we got to go to a lot of events. I saw Michael Phelps swim for the last time the first night I got there. Watched Irish badminton, did a ton of things, and it was just such an amazing experience, and no one can take that away from me.
McGinley seemed to bring the meticulous detail and planning that he showed at the Ryder Cup so successfully to the Olympics, because quite often when we look at who's the Olympic golf manager, it's such an individual sport. You got to go do your own thing. What has he really got to do except make sure you all turn up in the tee on time?
Yeah.
But it was clear right from the off that wasn't going to be the way that McGinley approached this. That he had gone out to Rio, I think, a couple of times to look at the course. What was it like being part of that close-knit team then with Padraig Harrington, with Seamus Power, with Paul McGinley?
Oh, it was, a lot of fun. When I got there, the men's event was just finishing, so we got to hang out with Seamus and Padraig a little bit. And Paul is, mainly he's just so enthusiastic, and it made it so much better, to be a part of that. He wanted us to go to events at night. He wanted us to experience the Olympics, and everything was planned to a T for us. We didn't have to worry about anything, which was amazing.
I think he got that. It was an Olympic experience for you as well, because so much of the talk heading into it around golf was, well, this is a professional sport. It's all about the money. Do they need to be at the Olympics? Do they deserve that sort of feeling? But actually, for so many people going over there, and it's the same feeling as being an athlete. It's the same feeling as being a swimmer. Wearing the green jersey, being an Olympian for Ireland. We would talk to Gary O'Toole, the former swimmer, and he said, you're never a former Olympian. You're always just an Olympian. And you always have that now.
Yeah, which is amazing. And it's a weird thing, because growing up, I obviously never thought about it. I never thought I could be an Olympian. And then when it started happening, and first started talking to Paul, and he was telling me, you're pretty close to, world ranking wise of getting in, and I'm like, wow, like this is really cool, to say Stephanie Meadow, the Olympian, I never thought that was going to be possible. So, very close to my heart.
And are you thinking about 2020 already?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll be very exciting. And, hopefully I'll be back there.
So, obviously confidence is very high now, coming in after a win in the last couple of weeks. The second tier, can you sustain a living out of that, or is it something you put yourself through for a year, hope that it all flicks around, and then you get yourself back in the LPGA Tour, and that's where life becomes comfortable again? Is it a proper old grind out on the second tier? Yeah,
it's a little bit of a grind. I think the biggest battle is just trying to keep the expenses down as much as I can. If you play good on the Symetra, like top 3, you can probably make close to $100,000, which is really good.
Okay.
So the prize money has gone up dramatically. But I decided not to kind of take a full-time caddy this year. You don't have to have a caddy on Symetra. It's just something that I think I can buckle down and do by myself for a year. And I'll have a few people come in and out occasionally for me, for 5 or 6 events. So I'll have to do about 10 on my own. But, it's just part of it. I believe I'll be fine by myself.
Yeah. What are the aspirations then for the next 2-3 years?
Back on LPGA, and hopefully get where I think I belong, which is, at least top 50 and top 20,
where do you think you belong?
Definitely, I'd love to be top 20, but I've always wanted to be the number 1 player in the world, and obviously that's taken a little bit of a turn here and there, but, that's still always my aspiration, and that's what I work for. That's what gets me up in the morning, so, I'll never forget that.
Coming through at Alabama, you would have played against and played alongside a lot of those golfers who are in the top 50 in the world right now. Do you look at them and see, well, why their career has gone this way and why yours has just stuttered over the last couple of years? Yeah, it's kind of hard to watch. But, that's just how golf is. It's a tough sport, and you got to have a well-rounded
balance of everything to make it, you got to have that to succeed. And, I watch them, and I guess that gives me confidence too, because I know, in college I beat them, so there's no reason why I can't beat them now.
Yeah. Great to talk to you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Enjoy your
Appreciate
trip
it.
home.
Thank you.